This is part 2 of your quiz review. The new information that we've been working on since our last quiz is direct objects and conjunctions. Part 2 of the review is going to go over direct objects, which is brand new information, but also verb phrases, which is old information. In this part of the review, though, we're going to bring in compound verb phrases, which brings in the conjunctions and how to use a conjunction when you have verb phrases. So some of it will be definitely directly related to our quiz when we do the compound part. But it's good to review the verb phrases anyway, because that's one of the things that people miss sometimes when they're trying to diagram. So the noun job of direct object. So far in the review, we've only been working with 3 parts of speech. We've been doing nouns, verbs, and conjunctions. We're going to stick with that in this review. We're still going to stick with nouns, verbs, and conjunctions, okay? The only job that we've had in the review so far for nouns is subject. But you know that there are 3, well, there's more than 3, but you know 3 possible noun jobs. We're going to go to the noun job of direct object. A direct object is the name of the noun that receives the action from a transitive active verb. Now, what the heck does that mean? Transitive active verbs transfer their action onto something or someone. Well, if it's something or someone, that's going to be a noun, right? And that noun is called the direct object. So I put this part of the word transitive in red and this part of the word transfer in red to help you remember that transitive active verbs transfer their action. And the word active kind of helps with that too. Transitive active verbs, transitive transfer. So the action is getting transferred onto something or someone, which means there's going to be a noun involved, and that noun is called the direct object. Now, that is compared to intransitive complete verbs, and those kinds of verbs do not transfer their actions onto anything. And the prefix in means not, so this basically means not transitive. So let's actually look at some examples because it will help this make sense. These words you need to know, transitive active verbs, I can tell you right now, there is a question on the test asking you the difference between transitive active verbs and intransitive complete verbs. So this is the slide you need to pay attention to, okay? You also have this in your notes back when we first did direct objects. So let's look at some examples. So on this side, we're going to have intransitive complete verbs, verbs that do not transfer, and transitive active verbs, okay? So we've got Joey ran, and then we've got Susan ran a marathon. Notice in both sentences, the verb is ran. So it's the same verb, but in this case, it's used differently. Joey ran. We don't know what Joey ran. It's an intransitive complete verb. We're done there. There's no transferring of action onto a noun. In this case, Susan ran a marathon. Marathon is a noun. That's a thing. And that's what Susan ran. So this running is being transferred into this marathon. Okay, this is how you can tell or figure out what's going on. You just ask yourself, what? What did Joey run? What did Susan run? Well, we don't know what Joey ran because there's no direct object. There's no something or someone receiving this action. Whereas in this case, there is. Susan ran a marathon. So what did Susan run? She ran a marathon. So that's how we know that there is an indirect object. First of all, there's a noun. It's not the subject because that's Susan, and it's not the object of a preposition because there's no prepositional phrase. The only other noun job we know at this point is direct object, and marathon answers the question what. Okay? So it's not the type of word because it's the same word. It's whether or not that word is transferring its action onto a noun. Okay? So transitive, active verbs, intransitive, complete verbs. You need to know those. So direct objects answer these 2 questions, what or whom. So here are some more examples, and now we're going to diagram them. Michelle and Steve played soccer. First, we'd have a compound subject, right? Michelle and Steve. So we're going to split our subject line and put Michelle and Steve, And what did they do? They played. And then what did they play? They played soccer. So in this sentence, we have 3 nouns. Michelle is a person, Steve is a person, and soccer is a game. It's a thing, right? So Michelle and Steve, compound subject with a direct object. Michelle and Steve played soccer. Well, while they were playing soccer, Michelle kicked Steve, right? So now we've got 2 nouns, Michelle and Steve. You always know which one is the subject because the subject is doing the action. So Michelle is the subject. What did she do? She kicked. That's the verb. Steve receives the action. He received the kick. So he is the direct object. So that's another way you can try to remember. Subject does the action. Direct object receives the action. Michelle kicked Steve. Well, along comes Joey, and Joey helped Steve. Joey's doing the action, so Joey's the subject. What is he doing? He's helping. And whom is he helping? That's the other direct object question, what or whom? Joey helped Steve. Okay, again, doing the action is Joey, receiving the action is Steve. So Joey and Steve decided to play kickball and tag. So Joey and Steve played kickball and tag. Now we've got compound subject connected by a coordinating conjunction, and then we've got compound direct object connected by a coordinating conjunction with one verb. So let's diagram that one. Split our line on the subject side, diagram Joey, Steve, and then our coordinating conjunction and Joey and Steve. We've got our vertical cross line, and that's going to tell us we need to put our verb next, played. And what did they play? These are 2 nouns. Kickball is a game, thing. Tag is a game, another thing. So here are 2 direct objects receiving the action of playing. Played is being transferred. Play is being transferred onto pickleball. I said kickball. It says pickleball. Clearly I can't read. Played pickleball and tag. So played is being transferred to the pickleball. Played is being transferred to tag. So we have to split the line at the point where we need to add our direct object. So we're still going to put that half vertical line, then we're going to split it and add pickleball and tag, and then our coordinating conjunction. Okay, so you can see we just reviewed direct objects, what they are and where they get diagrammed, but we also, along with that, reviewed how to use a conjunction when you have compound subjects and when you have compound direct objects. Okay, so we've got compound subject up here with Michelle and Steve, we've got compound subject down here with Joey and Steve, and then we've got compound direct object down here with pickleball and tag. So these are all things you need to know. If there's something on the test about compound direct object, you need to know what that means. It means there are 2 or more direct objects connected by a coordinating conjunction. Verb phrases, and then we'll be done for this review. Verb phrases. Well, in order to review verb phrases, we have to back up and review phrases. There are lots of different kinds of phrases. So far, you know 2, verb phrases and prepositional phrases. We'll cover prepositional phrases in a different review video. Right now, we're just going to cover verb phrases, okay? But what the heck is a phrase in the first place? Phrases are a group of words that act together as one part of speech. So far, we've been dealing with nouns, verbs, and conjunctions. And each of those parts of speech is just one word. Like Steve is a person, that's a noun. Chair is a thing, that's a noun. A run is a verb, that's one word, action word, verb, run. Another verb would be jump. So each part of speech is really only one word. Well, verb phrases is when you have more than one word, but together those words are acting as one part of speech. So we're going to look at verb phrases right now. Verb phrases have 1 or more helping verbs plus a main verb, and those words together act as the verb in the sentence. Okay? There are 23 helping verbs, and you know this very well. You know it if you memorized it to This Old Man. You know it if you memorized it to London Bridge. You might have done Witch Doctor, or this is the time of year maybe to memorize them again using Jingle Bells. Okay, So 23 helping verbs, all listed. These all have different orders because they go with the songs, but you know these. All of you know these 23 helping verbs. All right? If you have helping verbs together with main verbs, those words are going to act together and they're going to be the verb in the sentence. They're going to act as one part of speech. And then you call that a verb phrase. Let's start. Okay, diagramming verb phrases. Here's an example. Joey will sing. Basically, simple. Joey is the subject. He's the one doing the action. And then you put will sing, the verb phrase, in the place of the verb. Easy. Okay, here's another one. Will she sing? Joey will sing. Will she sing? Well, she is the subject there with an interrogative sentence. Interrogative meaning a question. Interrogative sentence asks a question. With an interrogative sentence, you need to find the subject, and she is the subject, right? She will sing. It looks just like when Joey was singing up here, except the capital is on the will, and that's how you know this is where the sentence started. It started with the word will. Okay? David might have learned. Well, David's doing the action here, right? David, all of this whole thing is verb phrase. Might is a helping verb, have is a helping verb, learned is the main verb. So David might have learned. If you go back to your 23 helping verbs, both might and have are on the list. So those are both helping verbs and the word learned is the main verb. Okay? She should sit and wait. All right, here we have a conjunction. So this brings in the review so we can get ready for our conjunctions quiz. She should sit and wait. Should is a helping verb. We have two main verbs. So we call that a compound verb phrase. Two main verbs sharing one helping verb. And this is how you diagram that situation. She is the subject. What is the action? Should is the helping verb. Then we're going to split the line and we're going to put sit on one of the lines and wait on the other and connect them and add the coordinating conjunction. Now, notice there is no line right here. That is because should sit, should wait, those go together as the verb phrase. These are not direct objects because there's no half line. That half line tells you you've moved into the direct object place, but we haven't done that yet. Now you could have a direct object off of either one of these verbs. I don't know what they would be. She should wait. What? There's no way to really add one. She should sit. What? No. You could add adverbs, but not really direct objects to those. But if they were verbs that lend themselves to direct objects, you could have one here and you could have one here. Both verbs could have its own direct object. Okay, but now I'm getting too far ahead. Now, one more. He will try and might succeed. In this case, we have a conjunction again, but both verbs have their own helping verb. So try is the main verb and will, helping. Succeed, main verb, might, helping. So in this case, we have a compound verb phrase again, but instead of sharing the helping verb like sit and wait share should, each has its own helping verb. Try has will, succeed has might. So this is how you diagram it. He is the subject, and then you split the line right away, and will try gets its own line, and might succeed gets its own line. And then we add the dotted line for the conjunction and add the conjunction. And this is diagramming verb phrases with compound verb phrases in there as well. So there's a compound verb phrase and there's a compound verb phrase. One that shares a helping verb and one that each has their own. Okay, so that is a review on direct objects and verb phrases, including compound direct objects and compound verb phrases. This prepares you to do the diagramming direct objects practice activity 1 sheet, which is page 11 in your winter break packet. It's the second page in the packet. You should have already done page 3. You've probably already done page 11 actually, because you didn't really need to watch this to do it. but hopefully this is helping you get ready for your test. Okay, after you do page 11, get ready to come back in a couple days and watch review part 3.